Shalom, everybody. Greetings. This is Leon the Servant back here with another video. Kala to the Abba on this Yah blessed day. We're back here with another one, as always. And today's topic is the Most High's Watchmen, or God's Watchmen, right? See, a lot of people talk about the fallen angels and their watchmen, but a lot of people don't bring out the Most High has his watchmen, his people who he is put in certain positions to overlook and to warn the people. But my question is this: what is the importance of warning people when they do not heed? Some may ask, what is the importance of being put in a position where no one listens, or at least you perceive no one listens? Because we're not talking in the physical, in the aspect that you can see people's reactions and see the countenance of the spirit change. We're doing these over videos, over the internet. And I just want to bring up some pressing scripture that I thought should be floated in the airwaves for people to refer back to, and some impending thoughts that I think could help provoke and spark a better understanding on the plight. Actually, I wouldn't even call it a plight. I would say the obligation of those who are considered watchmen in the Most High's eyes, those who have a certain reputation, those who have an expertise in areas and can see that it's changing, right? So let's get into it. We have Matthew 10 through 15, which a lot of people are more familiar with, and it goes this way. And when ye come into a house and salute it, and if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. And when we really sit down and we think about what that statement's even saying, did Christ just say that by us coming, by us speaking with these people, and by them not receiving us, that they put themselves in a worse predicament than Sodom and Gomorrah? Is it because that they have been reproved of their actions and decide not to? Food for thought, right? Food for thought. Now let's get into what Christ, in a way, was pulling off of in Ezekiel 33, verses 1 through 11. This really speaks onto the weight that it carries when you have this information that the Most High has put on you, right? And it goes as this: And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man for their coasts, and set him for their watchman. And when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Let's break that down real quick. When you see destruction coming upon, warn your people. Blow the trumpet. Right? And let's see what proceeds. Then whosoever hear the sound of the trumpet and take not warning, do not heed your advice, do not heed your words, do not heed what you see that is coming and imminent. If the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be on his own head. To his own devices led him to his own destruction, and you will not hold accountable. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood is upon his own head. upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned. And if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the swordsman's hand. See, it's a very interesting, pivotal verse. If you see something and you don't warn those people, you have the voice, you're in a position to do and to warn those who are around you, and you don't, regardless if that person was wrong in sin, right? Yeah, they're taken away in their iniquity, but the blood is on your hands. The blood is on your hands. So let's read on. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth, and warn them from me. When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die, if thou doest not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. See, having this information, having this knowledge, the Most High doesn't just give it to you for you to hold on to it for yourself, right? There's a certain calling, there's a certain pressing that he puts upon you. See, what happens if that wicked man did change and turn his ways from the things that you said? This whole passage is speaking upon the power of warning, the power of speaking up, the power of calling those who are willing. See, a lot of us are all at different stages in this walk, right? Some still in Christianity or some type of form of religion, some just coming out of it, some who've been out of it. But then there's new nuances that's happening constantly. You have like the metaverse, the NFTs, you have the growing perversion and the communication between man and woman. You have a whole bunch of things going on, and brothers and some sisters are very insightful on those things. And just as a lot of the old prophets, they can see what is happening, right? They have a duty to call it out and to speak it out. See, I was listening to Rollo on the 7 Talk, and I believe this was a video he just did yesterday. And he was bringing out a lot of different things about what could be potentially taking place in New York and in the future. Same thing with New Breed, bringing out a lot of different things over the years. Ringo and a bunch of other brothers, bringing these things out. But it's crazy to me because we bring these things out, and because we're targeting these people who are lost, these people who are wicked. All right, we're trying to pull them out or make sure that the word is heard. We get a certain level of backlash and told, don't entertain them, right? But this scripture right here is telling us the very opposite. It's telling us the very opposite. That we should be talking to these people. We should be warning them for the things to come. And if it's up to them whether or not they heed the advice or whether they decide to denounce it, right? But it's not up to us to decide whether or not we are going to give that advice. The Most High is indicting us to do said thing, right? And let's just build on this real quick. The Watchmen of the Most High. Some of the things that we see just happening in the future, months, weeks, years, days, are so pivotal and fundamentally world changing, or if not, soul changing, that if not said, if not delivered, think about the word itself. Think about the Bible, the scriptures. Imagine if those weren't here to send and as a record and to reprove us, to warn us of the things to come, to warn us of our lascivious behavior. Right? I have something else I want to bring out. See, let me keep reading on first. And we're still in Ezekiel. We are picking up from chapter 33. And I want to go to the last verse, verse 11. Well, not the last verse of the chapter, but the last verse of the segment. And it says this: Say unto them, As I live, saith the Lord, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways, for why will ye die, O house of Israel? Turn from your wicked ways is what the Most High desires, right? And we can see this personified when David's being hunted down by Saul, right? And for those who are unaware of Saul and David, I suggest you educate yourselves, but a short synopsis of the whole thing goes is that Saul was anointed to be the first king of Israel, and along the way he became deceptively wicked. He started to fall off the path, and David started to rise up, and David was appointed to be the next king. Saul took it as a slight and went out and went about to kill David. Now David's being hunted down. David's living in caves. Saul's out here chasing him down, chasing him, wanting his blood. And then there's an instance when Saul comes into this cave, because this is where he gives notice of David being. And David has the opportunity to kill Saul, but he showed mercy. He cut off a piece of his robe, and to show it to him later, he's like, I could have killed you, but I'm not here to harm the Most High's anointed, right? He's like, I don't want to see you die in your sin. And let's actually read a little bit from where I'm pulling from. I'm pulling from this cave incident in 1 Samuel 24, verses 1 through 6. And it reads, And it came to pass when Saul was returned from the following the Philistines, that it was told him, saying, Behold, David is in the wilderness of Engedi. Then Saul took 3,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and went to seek David and his men upon the rocks of the wild goats. And it came to the sheepcotes by the way, where was a cave, and Saul went in to cover his feet, and David and his men remained in the sides of the cave. And the men of David said unto him, Behold, the day which the Lord said unto thee, Behold, I will deliver thy enemy into thy hand, and that thou mayest do to him as it shall seem good unto thee. Right? Then David arose and cut off the skirt of Saul's robe privily. And it came to pass afterward that David's heart smote him, because he had cut off Saul's skirt. And he said unto his men, The Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. Does that mean that Saul was this righteous individual in an aspect of what he was doing and what he was trying to stop? No. But he saw Saul as his brother, as his king, still, right? And showed mercy. He actually felt bad that he cut his garments. If I'm reading that and interpreting that correctly, you guys read for yourselves and see if I'm off, right? The Most High has no pleasure in the wicked dying, and if David was supposed to be a reflection of the Most High's heart, a man who truly seeks after the Most High's heart, right? And when we go back to Ezekiel, it says, "O house of Israel," the warning can't stop. The calling it out can't stop, right? For we're not lying in wait for when they fall, right? We're simply just trying to make sure that they become just and stand up again. And let me tell you where I'm pulling that from real quick. Proverbs 24:15-16. It says this: Lay not wait, O wicked man, against the dwelling of the righteous. Spoil not his resting place. For a just man falleth 7 times and rises up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. See, am I calling these people saints? No. People who follow the ways of the world, who hates the ways of the Most High, can't be called saints. They can't. But as Christ said, he came for the lost sheep of Israel, for those people who are willing to submit themselves back onto the Most High, right? And to find his ways. See, what's interesting is that people that subject themselves to these videos, right? They listen to them, from Brother Newbury, Rollo, Rango, Baya Adonai, and the list goes on, right? The man who's doing the work. And if they become a hater, right, or someone who just hates everything that's being said, and they have this vile feeling, it's because the word is taking effect, right? Which isn't a bad thing. Now, the way that they're going about it is, right, instead of using it as a chance to change, they're using it as a chance to try to tear down. But does that mean that those brothers should stop telling the word? What about those people who try to deflect and then later reflect? Right? What about everyone else that we're reaching out to? See, we have to point out the ways of the wicked so that the righteous can be exempt of sin. We're supposed to show them and reprove their ways of thoughts, right? And it was very discerning. It was very concerning to me when I was on a panel and I heard people saying, well, stop talking about these people. Stop talking about the ways that they're doing this and doing this. Just focus on us. But the people who need us the most are in the synagogues of Satan, right? Most people who are perfectly fine with what we're saying aren't the people who need us the most. Not saying you don't have value, not saying that we can't add value to you, but you have some type of relationship with the Father, right? And I just thought that that was very important for me to bring out. The role of the Most High's watchman isn't just for the righteous, it's for the wicked as well. When we read back to Ezekiel and it speaks about that, it speaks about, well, if the wicked don't listen, that's on the wicked's fault. If they do listen, they have their soul. That's good for them. It speaks for both behalves. it is not discriminate. It's indiscriminatory. The word is the word. The promises are the promises. The prophecies are the prophecies. The prophets are the prophets. We are merely vessels sharing the truth. And the truth reaches on all diasporas, reaches on all platforms, reaches on all corners. It covers it all. And where the truth is dying is where it needs to be revived the most. It speaks about the word going into a drought, right? Well, this, you could picture this as Joseph stocking up the necessary grains for said drought, right? Pouring in, pouring in, pouring in, pouring in. So when it's time for them to sit back and recollect about the things that's happening, right? That there might be something that they can gain during that drought before it's too late. So with that being said, I hope that this video provoked thought, inspired inspiration, and caused action. Shalom and peace.